Hi, guys, and welcome to 6.7. We're going to be learning about how to calculate simple interest. And this is super important because if you put money into an investment, you want to know how much you're going to be making over time. And so, this is your basic formula. You find the simple interest by multiplying your principal, that's your original starting amount, times the annual interest rate. You may hear it as APR, your annual interest rate, and then the time in years. Now you'll notice that your this has to be in decimal form here, and this has to be in years. So you have to make sure that you know you're doing years, and this is your annual interest rate, not per month, but per year. So your principal times that rate times the number of years will tell you how much interest you have. Now remember, it's just going to tell you how much is added on to your principal, okay? So it's not going to be like, if your principal, let's say you start out with $1,000 and you earn a rate of 5%, but in decimal form, that would be 0.05. And your time is, let's just say you keep it in the bank for 1 year. 1,000 times 0.05, we're going to move the decimal point, right? So it is going to end up being, here's the easy thing. If you're multiplying by 1,000, you're going to go 1, 2, 3. So you are going to make about $50 in 1 year, which is not too bad, right? So for giving them the privilege of using your money for a year, they will return your $1,000 plus $50 in interest to you. Okay? And over time, that really does add up. Now, one thing I want you to see from this original formula is that you are going to solve various sorts of this formula, and you need to be able to solve it if they give you the interest and they give you the rate and they give you the time and you find out how much principal you had. So I want to just show you algebraically how you can rewrite the formula to solve for any one of these things. So let's say you're solving for t. You would divide both sides by p r, and that would be equal to the time. So if you knew your interest, divided it by the principal times the rate, you would find out how much time you put it in there. Now, if we want to solve it for r, we are going to do the same thing. We're going to divide both sides by the other variables here. So we would say I over pt equals r. Okay? And finally, we're going to solve it for the p. So we're going to say I equals, let's see, I divided by P, oh no, divided by R, T equals P. Okay, so we've just rewritten our formula so that you can solve for T, you could solve for R, and you could solve for P. And that's going to be really important because your homework is going to give you 3 of these things, and you're going to have to solve for the other one. So rewriting this basic formula is going to be to your advantage because then if you know your interest, you know your principal, and you know your rate, you can just plug all those numbers in and solve for time. Okay, so that's the first most important thing is being able to rewrite your formula. Now let's look at this in practice. So you put $100 into a savings account and you're going to earn 6% simple interest per year. Now, this table shows your interest and your balance each month because normally in a bank you get a monthly statement, right? So at 0 months, you would have zero interest and you would have $100 in the bank. Now, if we are working our I equals PRT formula, you remember time has to be in years. So we're going to calculate the interest by saying our principal is $100 times the interest rate in decimal form, 0.06, times 1/12, because we know our time has to be in years, but it's only after 1 month. So we're going to plug all that in to a calculator and figure out how much interest we have. All right, after 1 month, you have 50 cents in interest. So your balance is $100.50. So to find the second month, you are going to change this amount up here because now you are calculating it off of 100.5. So when you calculate that, you're going to find that it keeps growing more and more. So as your interest gets added to your balance, you end up making more interest every month. Okay, so let's look at how we would plug those numbers in. We would have 100.5 times zero point zero 0.06 times, and then I'm going to use the parentheses, 1 divided by 12, close parentheses, enter. All right, now you made another 50 cents, but it's a little bit more. Now the bank is not going to round that up, I don't think. So you're just making 50 cents again. But now you're going to rewrite your equation and you have 101 times all of that. All right, so actually we are going to add this. We're going to say your total interest earned is $1. We keep track of it for a year. And so each month you keep earning $1.50 and you keep earning 50 cents. Over time, it will grow as your principal grows. But at first, when you just start these savings accounts, you just add a little bit each month, right? But let's look at what that does to your balance. So you had 101, 101.50, 102, 102.50, and 103. So you earned $3 by just not touching your money. Now, if you were to chart this, you would see that we started here at $100. And if we were to draw little bar graphs after a bit, you are going to see that it's going up each month, right? And so each month it is going up a little bit. As we go along, you will see the value increasing. Now imagine if you'd put $100,000 away, okay? You're making big bucks on that. If you earn 5% on that, you are earning $5,000 a year. So that's why investing does make sense over time. And that's why you're learning to calculate interest. So let's look at some other example problems. So here's our simple interest formula. If you put $500 into a savings account, that's your principal, and you earn 3% simple interest, 0.03, and you keep it in there for 3 years, how much simple interest would you earn? So let's multiply it all together and find out. You would earn $45. So that's not bad. For not really doing anything, just letting your money work for you, you earn some money. Now let's look at another example. You put $1,000 in. The account earns $100 simple interest in 4 years. So we do not know what the rate is, right? But in order to find the rate, we could divide by everything on this side, which is 100 times 4. So if we divide this side by 400, divide this side by 400, we would find out that our rate, equals 1/4. Or if we were to put that in decimal form, we would say 0.25, which is really a pretty great rate. So you guys saw how we were able to solve for one unknown if we knew the other 3. It's kind of like a puzzle or like Clue. If you know 3 out of 4 of these parts of the equation, you can either divide by everything else on the same side as the unknown variable, or you can just use the form of the equation. We wanted to find out our rate. We could have just said it's our interest, or our simple interest divided by principal times time. Okay, so let's solve a couple more of these. So if you are finding the interest earned, you are going to say, let's say you start with $700. That's your principal. You earn 8% for 6 years. So you can calculate your simple interest, and then part B is find the balance of the account. So we're going to find our simple interest and add it to the original 700. So our interest after 6 years would be $336. Now, if we were to add it to the original 700, we would find that that would be $1,036. That's a pretty good rate of return. Whoops, and there you go. The next section in your homework is going to give you they're going to say I equals 24, P equals 400, and T equals 2 years. Okay, so we know everything except for the rate. We're going to find out the rate. So we can go ahead and rewrite our equation by dividing by PT, divide by PT, and P over P is just 1, T over T is just 1. So we are left with R equals I over PT. So now we can do this and we can say R equals 24 over 400 times 2. Now, if you're trying to do this without writing it down on paper, you're not going to be able to keep track of all of this in your brain. So let's go R equals 24 over 800, and then we can divide that out to find the rate. So we have R equals 0.03, which translated to a percentage would be 3%. Now you're going to have to find the amount of time. So let's rewrite our equation by dividing by PR so that we are left with time alone. P over P is just 1, R over R is just 1. So we can rewrite this as T equals I over PR. And they are going to give us the interest is 30. The principal was 500 and the rate was 3%. So we're going to put that as a decimal like we always do. Then we're going to crunch our numbers and find out how long this was in the bank. And we find that it's just a nice simple 2. So it was in the bank for 2 years. All right, so guys, just a quick reminder, your learning target is to be able to calculate simple interest using the simple interest formula. Remember, you can rewrite this original equation, the I equals PRT, so that it looks like a form that allows you to solve for the one particular part you need to solve for. If you know all 3 of these, you'll be able to solve for the one unknown. All right, good luck. Make sure you do your work and check it, and make sure you do your calculations on paper too. And have a great day.